What is up? What is up, everybody? Welcome to the KillJoy Jake show sort of thing that I do on Tuesdays sometimes. Welcome, everybody. I am joined by the absolutely amazing, wonderful filmmaker himself, Master Chaos. What is going on, my dude?
Thank you, my friend. An honor to be here. I love chatting movies with you, and specifically Scream. I feel like our conversations always end up being about that. But I love it, man. And I'm honored to be here. And I apologize in advance for anybody watching. I will be delivering some hot takes tonight.
That's why I have you on, man. The hot takes. It's awesome. I love them.
I'm glad.
Gonna say hi to a few people, and then we're gonna get the conversation going. What is going on, Green Gaze? Hey, yo. What's up? Talking about Billy, he has to return. They can't build up the fact that she has all these visions, and then what? She's cured? What's up with that? Come on, Olaf. Let's get the Billy Loomis visions going. We're going to talk about that in a sec, Olaf. Malachi, what's up? That blood looks delicious. I would lick it off his fingers, too. I'll tell you what. Wayne, what's going up? This is clashing with fellow Lethal Collective member Knights. We're not battling. There's no battle. It's all love here. It's all love. Caleb, what's up? Hi. How's it going? Savvy Film Geek, what's up? Eyes Free, yo. Adam Jeffrey, hi. Adam, how are you? Michael Audrey Myers is here as well. Full name, KillJoy Jake's brother. Yeah, Master Chaos is my older brother.
Yeah,
good stuff. And I will say hello to you as well. Will there be a Nightmare on Elm Street reboot? Hopefully. Maybe if we're lucky. I would love one of those, man. I don't know what's going on. You think there'd be another one at this point, but I guess not. So, but to kick off the conversation, because Master Chaos, you're kind of the guy that broke the news about Sidney Prescott. Holy shit! What's up with that? How was that whole experience?
It was amazing. First of all, it was a big deal to see her in person. I mean, I've met a lot of celebrities, at conventions and things like that, or just on set. But seeing her in person, being like, oh my God, she's right there. This is pretty amazing. My daughter was freaking out. It's her favorite horror movie. She's 14, but she's seen it like over 30 times.
Nice.
So she goes up. She's like, she was a little tongue tied. So I spoke for everybody. I'm like, it's an honor to meet you. We love the movie so much. It means a lot to our family, and we bonded over it. And it's just really cool to meet you. You're one of the greats. And she's like, oh my God, thank you so much. And she was very nice. She gave us just really sweet, like she was like a mom energy. She's very kind. She signed her autograph, and then I said, you probably get this all the time, but please, whatever you do not let them kill Sidney. And then she kind of sat back and she gave me a nod like, hell no, I 100% agree. Sidney will never die. And then I said, well, hopefully we'll see you in 6. And then she does one of these. She kind of cringed, and she goes, actually, I turned it down. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I wanted to do a follow-up question, like, oh, it's just, I almost said, did the script suck, But I was so taken aback that she had shared that with me. I was like, did she just tell me she's not in the new Scream movie? That's huge. No one knows this. This is crazy. So then as soon as we were done, I was like, I shook hands with her. We all shook hands with her. She was really nice. We left. And then I got on camera. I'm like, holy crap. You're not going to believe this. So yeah. And then when I put that video out, I reached out to you and Critical Overlord and Craven. And obviously it was just my word because I'm just a guy. And I said, oh, hey, Nev Campbell told me this. I get it. People were skeptical. But I knew it was eventually, it's a matter of time, it was going to come out. And I don't want to say that I spurred it, but I have a feeling because I put that video out and then it just got spread from other people talking about the potentiality that Deadline reached out to her and they were like, hey, do you want to comment on this? Is this real? And I'm guessing that's what happened. Maybe she didn't want to necessarily announce it immediately, but I think it was one of those things where she just had to say something, and that's why it happened so soon after my video.
Yeah, like it was just everyone was I remember everyone was talking about it, dude. Your video, like I saw that picture from your video and it was just like everywhere. Like people were like, "Oh my God, is she really not in it? Like what's going on?" And then that thing came out from Deadline like a day later or something. It was crazy. I mean, it all happened so fast. It was insane, man. That is nuts. Like I totally agree, man. If I was in that situation and I asked Nev Campbell a question and she actually gave me the answer, it's like Plankton when he's just like, "I didn't think I would get this far" in SpongeBob, right. It's just like, "Oh shit." I totally understand that. We're all suave and we're all like confident until we get something like that, and you're just like, what? what? No, that's awesome though, man. Oh my god. And also meeting her, I bet was just fucking awesome too. Like, man,
it was great.
sick.
I was geeking out. We also took a family photo, you know, with the four, you know, the original core four, I should say. And I told my wife, I'm hugging Nev Campbell when we go up there. I'm gonna pose with her. She's like, okay, fine. So we go up, and like those photo ops are really quick. I mean, it's like literally not even like 10 seconds. So I go up to her and I go, may I? And she goes, you may. And I put my arm around her. I'm like, hell yeah, baby.
Nice.
So that was great. No, but everybody was so great. And I got to interview Jamie on that video, and he was so cool. And Matthew Lillard signed 2 hours after the convention closed. Like, he was still signing away for people. He did not leave. And Skeet as well. And
troopers. Absolute troopers.
Absolute troopers. And we'll talk about Skeet and what he said later on if you want. But
oh yeah.
but yeah, Nev dropping that bomb was astounding and heartbreaking at the same time.
It's like so many emotions you didn't even know what to do, because it's like you got Nev Campbell right in front of you, but then she's just telling you, oh, I'm not going to be in Scream 6. So now, because I know how we were kind of talking about this beforehand off camera, how do you feel about no Nev in Scream 6?
I absolutely hate it. I hate it. I'm an OG fan, you know, right there, opening night, first showing for the first one. Saw it twice that night. I just knew there was something special about this movie, about this franchise, about this guy.
Nice.
You know, and I said, you know, this is something special. You know, in the 90s, there was so many just horror junk, you know, and then this just came out, and he said, God, this is a masterpiece. We're witnessing something very special. And the fact that the first 4 movies were all about Sidney Prescott, not so much Ghostface. You know, this isn't Nightmare on Elm Street where Freddy could kill whoever. This isn't, you know, Jason, or he can kill whoever. It doesn't matter. He doesn't have a specific final girl. Ghostface is specific to Sidney Prescott and her story.
Yeah.
So to remove her from that, it's like Wes would not have done that. Wes would have said, okay, let's not make the movie. You know what I mean? I think if Kevin were in charge, Kevin would have said, well, let's just kill it. You know? So to remove her makes this now feel like a glorified season of television, which, you know, there are fans of the TV show. It was okay. I think I liked the cast more than I did the stories in the TV show. The cast was really good.
Yeah.
But I just, you know, at this point, it almost feels like fan fiction from personally anyway.
So let me ask you this, because I've seen a lot of people say that Scream now is just going to become like a regular slasher franchise because it doesn't have its lead character, and you really only have like one of the big legacy characters coming back. Do you agree with that? Do you think it's going to just slowly devolve into like what it was always making fun of in the beginning, or do you think like it can breathe new life because there's no Sidney? Could it focus on Ghostface instead?
I think if they had done something in 5, I mean, I think the original concept for the original 5 was Jill was going to live and she was going to continue, and you know, we knew she was Ghostface and maybe she was hiding her crimes. Brilliant. That would have been wonderful. But because we have essentially now a blank slate again, you know, we've killed our Ghostfaces. Nobody, I mean, as far as we know, Sam could turn into a maniac, and that could be what happens. We have another blank slate movie on our hands. If it's a thing where we get a cliffhanger in this one and 7 sort of wraps it up, I mean, that might be interesting. I mean, I'm not saying 6 is going to suck, completely. Like I'm going to watch it, obviously, but my hopes are really, really low for this one, to the point that I mean, I'm going to see it opening weekend, but I could wait. If it comes out in 3 years, fine. I'll wait 3 years. I'm not dying to see it. Yeah, I don't.
Just not really excited for it. Not really
excited, and I feel that you're right. They do run the risk of falling into that trap of like it's just another slasher franchise, and it stops being special. It stops talking about the stuff that other movies are taking serious.
I feel like with that last movie, I was almost kind of expecting there not like the moment I saw Scream 5, I walk out of the theaters, I was like, it's over. Like that's it. That was going to be the last one that capped it off. I really didn't think there was a future for the franchise, and when 6 got announced, I was kind of I was shocked. I was like, oh, they want to continue it. Okay. Interesting. And I apparently, there's a lot of evidence that would suggest that they were always planning on doing another one. Do you think it was the plan from the get-go to not have Sydney in this new movie? But I know with everything about the finance stuff and all that, but it's kind of weird that now they're just kind of like, they're still rolling. The cameras are rolling. They're filming this movie right now. Do you think that's kind of weird? Do you think she just always had a small part? It was just easy to remove her? How do you feel about all that? Because it's kind of controversial, obviously.
Sure. If I don't know if you heard the commentary for Scream 5 on the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
At the end of that, they say, "Oh, that was a lot of fun. Why don't we go make another one?" Hey, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And so the way they were talking, it sounded like they were already developing 6, back then, which I would not be surprised. So I would imagine they had, you don't go into this not planning a trilogy. You want to have that in your back pocket. Hey, if this one does well, we can do this and this. And I would imagine there's probably a lot of stuff in 5 that will get, worked out in the other sequels that we didn't notice that. Oh, this is happening. Hopefully anyway. But yes, they absolutely had Sydney planned for part 6. The fact that she's not coming back is absolutely going to ruin the original version. And I would imagine that's why they announced Kirby so early. Because they wanted to head off bad fan reaction. Hey, we got Kirby. Look, we got Kirby, guys. All right, 6 is gonna look at this. It's gonna be great. Kirby's here. See, she's alive. So it almost felt like hey, look over here. Don't look over here, kind of a thing.
Because it's like, hey, this is a beloved character from 4. We're implementing her into the story now. I'll say I'm worried about that. I'm worried about Kirby basically being like just thrown in there because it's like, oh, well, we don't have Nev now. Let's just throw her in that same part. So to me, it almost feels like Kirby's going to have this really small, like maybe 15 minutes of screen time kind of thing. And she's just going to show up to be like, what's up? You know what I mean? I really hope that's not the case, man. To me, it's like if you're gonna bring back a character like that, have her have some kind of big role. Don't just bring her back to kill her like what they did to poor Judy. Come on, give me some more. Give me a purpose to bring her back if you're gonna do that now, instead of just being like, "What's up, Kirby Reed? How's it going?"
Yeah, no, they wasted Judy. I think Judy could have easily kept going. You didn't have to get rid of her. Kill her son, fine. We just met him. Have her have that tragedy. Maybe she gets injured, but don't kill her, man. There's no point in that. And I also think they did a disservice to Dewey. Dewey he would have come back for every sequel for free, honestly, because he loves it. So killing him was a mistake. But yes, 100%. You have to use Kirby in a very important way. She's either with the team or she's driving the story. She can't just be, oh, hey, yeah, this is me on the phone. Oh, nice to meet you guys. Okay, yeah, good luck. She can't just be there to show up to give the rules of what part 6 is or whatever.
Yeah, no.
I mean, she has to. And honestly, you kill her in the opening scene, half the audience will probably walk out. I mean, I can't imagine. I can't imagine anyone liking that. If she's there, I mean, honestly, in reality, she died in part 4, guys. I love part. I love part 4, but she died. She wasn't in the hospital at the end of the movie. Everybody was in the hospital. This was like time had passed. Everybody was recuperating. Jill had been hooked up to machines. As Sydney had been hooked up to machines. Somebody should have said, "Oh, well, Kirby's in the other room." Nobody said that. So, and even Kevin said she was dead. So, I mean, her coming back is already, in my mind, stretching canon, but I'll allow it because I love her. But she better be useful and not wasted.
There's so much they can do with her character too. Like her, apparently she's doing interviews and stuff about she's one of the only survivors of that massacre. I feel like there's so much you can do with her character about not just hey, let's just make her into a character who's exactly like Sidney Prescott, where it's years later she gets attacked by Ghostface again, and she's I almost kind of hope they take the dark route with Kirby, and maybe she's exploiting interviewers or something. She's stretching the truth, something along those lines, almost oh, I was stabbed 100 times in the chest and all this shit, and she's making it sound so much worse. And maybe that's why, because I really want her and Mindy to go back and forth. They're similar characters, right? They're almost like if Kirby lived through 4, she would probably be in 5 in Mindy's shoes. You know what I mean? It's almost like that's how similar of characters they are. I don't want them to be best friends. I think it would be so much more interesting if they're fighting each other and they don't like each other for some reason. So to implement something about like Kirby has taken kind of a darker route these past couple of years might be interesting. You could also play her off as kind of a red herring, maybe. Maybe she's like, oh, maybe she's the killer this time around. I think that would be cool. I don't want to actually see her become Ghostface, but what do you want from Kirby in Scream 6, essentially, opposed to just the 15-minute filling in Nev's shoes part?
Man, I think if she has to be crucial to the mystery element in terms of helping solve the case or whatever, figuring out who the killer is. I think she should be crucial to why she's brought back. She shouldn't just be, oh, I heard that there was some murders and here I am to help you. I think there should be a reason that they're all involved, and maybe that goes to what Ghostface does. Maybe he's sort of playing like maybe he's doing a jigsaw type of thing where he's bringing them all together, for one final game or something. You know what I mean? So he's sort of calling him out, or I don't know. I just there is the chance, and I hope they don't do this. Somebody put it in the chat right now, that they make her Ghostface, or they say, oh, she was a secret killer in part 4, or some, I hope they don't pull anything like that, because I feel like that would be kind of cheap. And then I think not only make the makers of the film look bad, but make their trilogy look really bad too, because then it just smacks of just desperate fan fiction-y kind of thing. She has to be important. She has to be crucial. She has to have at least, definitely one movie throwdown with Mindy. And I mean, I think Kirby should win that. I think Kirby should absolutely. Oh yeah.
Oh, hot. That's a hot take right there.
Oh yeah. No. Kirby's got to win. And I honestly don't think they should kill her either. But I think she's probably dead. But they shouldn't do that.
I agree, and I hate that I agree. They're probably gonna kill her. Like, they're totally gonna kill her, but like at the same time, it's like, oh, I don't want them to kill Kirby. That'd be cool if they didn't. But yeah, I mean, considering how well people coming back from other Scream films, their chances of survival are typically not very good. So I don't see Kirby living through this one, honestly. But I think it would be cool if Kirby has a back and forth with Mindy. Maybe they're going back and forth about horror trivia, even. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And Kirby just slays her, basically. Just like knows more or something. I don't know. I think that could be a fun little that could be a good way to implement the meta humor, I feel like that might be fun.
Yeah.
But go ahed, sorry.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, and that's another element. Like, what would they do in terms of meta humor? I mean, I can't even think of what they would even address. And I mean, I know you're a big proponent of them keeping that meta concept. So if they lose that, we're essentially just watching a slasher movie, and it feels like, well, then it's a stab movie and it's not a Scream movie.
That's what I think is so special about this franchise. This is the number one big thing that sets this apart from like Friday the 13th or like the Halloween franchise, is the fact that it's basically the horror franchise for horror geeks. You know what I mean? They're constantly making fun of everything going on in the space. But there's a lot going on right now. I feel like there's a lot of things they could comment on, like the whole divide between people who like are watching these new A24 and like Neon movies from those production studios who are like, oh man, why are they implementing social commentary into horror movies? Like, I wish it was the 80s again, where it was just like slashers and gore schlock fests and stuff. They could comment on that in a film, I feel like. I don't know why they didn't in the last movie, honestly. Right. We've talked about this before, about how strange it was that they commented on like Star Wars shit. Like, that's so odd to me. Would you like to see that in the next Scream film, more like focusing on like the meta commentary of everything going on in the space right now?
Yeah, I think this is something that I don't know if a lot of people have addressed it, but I don't see people mentioning this. They mention it as a defense mechanism, but they say things like, Scream 5 was about toxic fans. So if anybody's critical of Scream 5, oh, you're toxic, you're just like Richie, you're just like Amber. I'm like, no, you can be negative, you can be critical about a movie. That doesn't make you a psycho killer. You know what I mean? So I feel so it's almost one of those things where like, it was almost unfair to the fans to make the fans the bad guys. I mean, let's be honest. If we were fans of Scream and Ghostface showed up with a metal mask and a flamethrower, and like high-fiving people with like ripped sleeves. We would think that was garbage too. I mean, come on. So, I mean, in a way, Richie and Amber were right. Yeah, they shouldn't kill anybody. You know what I mean? But it's like, yeah, that does look like a garbage movie.
You sympathize with them.
Exactly.
Hell yeah.
We sympathize with them. And I 100% believe. And again, I don't want to speak for him because he's dead and gone, unfortunately. But I don't think Wes would have made the fans the bad guys. All of the Scream bad guys were motivated by love or evil. Not evil, jealousy. Betrayal, that kind of stuff. I think Part 4 was almost the perfect final spin on it because that was fame, and that was genius. But making it about the fans being mad at the franchise, I feel like, I don't know, that left a bad taste in my mouth because I feel like it's setting a bad precedent, and I've already seen it with a lot of the fandom saying like, even I've mentioned a couple things, and then they're like, no, you're just like Richie, bro. You're so toxic, and like that doesn't make the movie bulletproof just because they made one of their characters a toxic fan.
I think something that they should have thrown in there, and I feel like it's implied, but maybe you'll disagree with this, but I do feel like it's all about like you shouldn't be killing people because they don't agree with you. That's kind of what I got from it, but like I can see having that opinion too because they were fans pissed off at something they didn't like. But I feel like it can also go the other way around, where it's like if it's something you did really like and someone disagrees with you, you could also implement that toxicity towards them that way as well. So to me, it's like I feel like you can work that motive both ways, but they didn't really do a good job at showing the other side of that, which is why I feel like maybe that motive didn't work as well. I almost wish there was just one conversation with like Sam or Richie or somebody where they kind of addressed that side of it, because then it would have worked. Then I think it works, but it does come off as a little mean towards the fans, I think, because they don't implement that side of it. There's two sides to this, which they really only commented on one side. That's why I feel like most people have a problem with it.
Yeah, and to be honest, if we were in that world and we're like, okay, we've got to make something based on a true story again. That's the only way it's going to be a good Stab sequel. Why would they not just target Sydney, Gale, and Dewey? You know what I mean? It seems like it's in their minds like, oh no, we need a whole fresh new cast. It just felt so weird. You know what I mean? Like motive wise, you would go after the legacy characters because that's who you would make the sequel about. You know what I mean? I don't know. So yeah. I mean, a lot of that stuff kind of falls apart. And in terms of what are they going to do in 6, I mean, I think I hope they don't double down on the toxic fandom thing. I hope the Reddit trilogy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it could easily be. Oh yeah, I was Richie's, pen pal, and oh yeah, I was Amber's Reddit boyfriend or some shit,
Richie's mother.
Yeah. I've heard you say that, and I've had nightmares of that happening.
Dude, no, me too. I'm horrified that that's the route they're gonna take with this. I don't. They can't, right? They can't do that. They can't fuck up that badly.
I mean, they're already going to college, which I think is an awful, awful choice for their sequel. Don't go to college, guys. We've already been there.
How do you like the New York City setting, though?
I'm not a huge fan of New York set movies in general, honestly. I don't like Home Alone 2, just to name a few. You know what I mean? I was like, New York. It just doesn't work. And I've been to New York twice. I just
don't like New York. Just not a fan.
I don't like New York, man. I just don't like New York. So it already has another strike against it because I'm just not a big fan of New York. I don't know, but it could work. I mean, I think that the change of pace could be interesting. I appreciate that they're trying to do something different. But to me, my favorite Scream movies are all set in Woodsboro. So that's sort of where my heart lies. I think it's cool that it's a small town, and I think you can do so much with that. Whenever, Scream 3, say what you will. I mean, I think the setting was a little off-putting, and I live there. I mean, I live in Los Angeles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just didn't. Whenever you change settings, the tone of the movies change, and they don't. It just doesn't feel as scary. I don't know. It just doesn't feel as impressive to me.
I feel like they have an opportunity here with New York to do the opposite of what they've done in the past, where it's like you were talking about, like small town energy. You know, you have a police force that's like kind of bumbling around. They're not exactly as good as like some other industries of cops and all that. They're not figuring out the mystery and all that. It's up to the people involved, which is even scarier. But there is an aspect of this that I think is interesting. Like I talked in my video today a lot about how maybe Sam is going to like a Halloween party or something. It's also been rumored that this movie's going to take place around Halloween time, which I think is cool. Yeah. Maybe a Halloween party for the third act setting. I don't know. Just a thought. I was talking a lot about how maybe there's people dressing up like Ghostface from Stab. Like you could have like an entire scene where maybe she's having like an episode surrounded by like 40 Ghostfaces. So it's not necessarily like the cult of Ghostface theory like everyone's been saying, but to have that paranoia, a scene like that where it's just her like really fast camera movements, like looking around a whole room of Ghostfaces, it's kind of a cool visual. And I'm like, you have a lot of opportunities with a New York setting to do something cool with the mystery this time around, something different than anything from the past. Does that interest you maybe or not really?
I do love the holiday idea. I think that's really, really cool. I think it visually changes things up. I mean, if it's Halloween, you have so many chances to have like Ghostface run into Michael Myers,
there you go.
Freddy. I mean, how cool would that be?
Oh yeah.
Somebody dresses Casey Becker, from Stab 1, that would be great. I mean, I could just see the opening scene now. Gail's in the subway. She's waiting for the train. All these trick-or-treaters come down. There's a couple of them in Ghostface costumes. The train comes. It's not the one she's waiting for. The costume guys get on, but one Ghostface stays behind. And it's just like, is this a trick-or-treater? Is this guy going to kill her? That could be really visually awesome. But the problem I have is that now the franchise is diverting from what it really was. And it really was, Sidney Prescott is the center attraction. She was the reason people wanted her dead. Now she's not there, and now it just feels diluted. No matter what happens, it's a diluted story. But that doesn't mean 6 it necessarily could be garbage, but it's certainly going to have an uphill battle. I know there's so many people who aren't going to watch it anymore just because she's not in it.
Right. And I feel like no matter how you spin it, it is a mistake. Like it was totally a mistake not to have her in the film. I'm excited to see what they do without her. I think it's going to be interesting because I think you can take all new directions with it and it's not just same old, but at the same time, just not having her in it. Yeah, that's going to turn a lot of people away. I feel like I've talked about this on the Lethal Collective. I'm like, if the movie's actually good, I guarantee you it's going to be like a Titanic situation where the first week, meh, second week, okay, a little better, and third week it fucking peaks. Like, I feel like that could be the case with this movie, but that's also the optimistic side of me talking.
I mean, that's what happened with the first one. I remember it opened number 3, and then word of mouth just started building. I think by week 3 it was number 1, and people were like, what's going on? And then more people went to see it, and then it became a thing, because I saw it by myself opening weekend. The next weekend I took my friends, like, you guys got to see this. This thing is a masterpiece. So it's possible, but I'm definitely more on the pessimistic side. I'm guessing it'll have a fairly okay opening week, and then it's probably gonna drop if it does things badly. For example, Kirby dies immediately, and Courtney is barely used, and there's no character development, and there's dropping of storylines that were established in 5, like if Billy doesn't come back, all that stuff it's really going to hurt the movie, and it's going to hurt part 5 retroactively.
I agree. I think there's a lot of things they have to do in this movie for it to be successful. You said character development. There you go. That's something we need for the core 4 especially. Like, I need to know more about these characters. We did not have enough time in the last film. I almost wish that last movie was like 15 minutes longer. I feel like you could have done a little more, like just a few more scenes where you're talking about character relationships and all that. Would have made that a lot better, I think. But you just also brought up Billy Loomis as well. So I know you were talking to Skeet. You had a whole video about that. Would you like to elaborate on all that?
Sure, yeah. Waited in line for all these people for a long time. I think his was like nearly 3 hours, which was a long wait. And my feet hurt. My feet still hurt. But he was really, really cool dude. I was able to get the whole thing on camera just to like prove to people, because I didn't have the whole Sydney thing on camera, so I couldn't show that. But I shook his hand. We talked a little bit. He told me where he lived for some reason. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And so I had
don't say that on the live stream.
No, I cut that out, able to find them. But at the end, I'm like, hey, so are we gonna see you in 6? And he goes, I honestly don't know. I seriously don't know. And that's the for real answer. I don't know. So if they just kind of drop that storyline, it would just feel even odder that it just showed up for a little bit in one movie and then it's never addressed again. It feels very strange to me.
There was no closure to me. I've seen a lot of people saying like, oh, well, when, he pointed out the knife or whatever, that was close. No, no, it's not. Yeah, I need him to come back at this point. As much as I didn't love that. I mean, it was, look, Skeet Ulrich coming back, reprising the role of one of the most infamous like killers in a movie. Cool. Okay. But the guy's very dead. And this was like, I don't know, like some kind of vision, force ghost, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I don't love it, but you need to conclude it in this next film, or otherwise, why did you establish it in the last movie? It's just like, it feels very weird. It feels very, very strange that if that doesn't go anywhere, which I'm, once again, another thing I'm starting to lean towards like, oh yeah, he's probably not going to be in the movie at all. They might not even address that.
Yeah, it's a bad move, story-wise, because you've established it. Honestly, it's a big part of who Sam is, and if she loses that, it's so weird, and it's going to leave a real hole in your franchise in terms of like this trilogy. You have to honestly bring him back for every movie that Sam is in. Have her talk to him twice, 3 times more, would be better, just to get that the rule of 3 in there. But you have to do it because you've already established it, and even though it is weird, and I hated it the first time I saw it, I'm like, that is ridiculous. If you abandon it now, it makes Part 5 look even worse because then it just looks even stranger.
I think with Sam's character as well, speaking of like the Billy Loomis premonitions, whatever the hell you want to call them, I feel like with her character, you have to continue what you set up in that last film, where it's like almost like she has a bloodlust, she has a desire to kill people. Where could that go in Scream 6? Because I think it would be kind of fun to see her maybe struggling with that whole thing, where it's like, oh, I just want to go stab somebody tonight or something, Like, I want to see that struggle a little bit in Sam in this next movie. What do you want to see from her character to develop her a little more?
I think at this point you cannot make her bad. You can't make her an enemy because they spend so much time trying to make her the hero. And while she does have that darkness in her, I think it's that redemption, darkness. So I can't. I mean, I think it'd be very cool if at the end of the movie it's sort of established that she was secretly killing people, and there's like all these deaths that weren't attributed to the ghost faces that were revealed. Like, whoa, who killed Jimmy and Dave? And then we find out that she did it. That would be an interesting kind of like cliffhanger. And like, holy shit, she's been killing people this whole time, but we thought it was these other 2 characters. And then maybe 7, Tara finds out her sister's in it, and it's kind of a battle of the sisters. That could be interesting. And I think there's a way to work that. But at the same time, I think the guys who wrote it, James Vanderbilt and Guy Busick, really do like Sam a little too much to make her the villain. So I don't think we're going to get that.
Would it be cool if they did a scene like, have you ever seen The Descent?
Yeah.
When the girl accidentally kills her friend, like just like it was an accident, it's totally an accident. What if Sam does something like that happens? Like she's super paranoid. Ghostface has been chasing her for like a whole minute and a half, and she turns around, she hears something and stabs somebody in the head, and it's like one of her friends. And then when the cops come, she's like, oh yeah, it was the Ghostface that was running around, not me. That could be kind of cool. I feel like there's a lot of fun things you could do with that story wise.
Absolutely, but they have to be careful on how they develop the character, because if it's one of those things that we get a betrayal where the audience thinks one thing and then we get another thing, it could work, but it could also be like, no, I don't buy it at all, and then you're sort of stuck, because if people don't go along with your, if it's a M. Night Shyamalan thing where like all along, we get a thing where like, oh, she's always been doing this, and then like, oh my God, how did I not notice that? That could be great. That could be a great way to like mindfuck the audience and then send it in a different direction. That could be very interesting.
The other thing is you could blame Sam for the Ghostface killings when she's not the killer at all. Maybe the killer drops his knife, she picks it up, Ghostface is gone, she's looking around all paranoid, stabs somebody. drops the knife on the ground, doesn't clean off her fingerprints, and then says, "Oh yeah, it was the Ghostface killer, whatever." They find out who it is. They kill them in the end. When the cops show up, they arrest Sam because they're like, "We found your fingerprints all over the knife, you piece of shit," or whatever, something like that, and like arrest her. That's your cliffhanger. I don't think they would say that what I just said, but you're going to the big house, bud. No, that's not happening. But.
Yeah, that's how they talk. No, it's something Ghostface has never done is try to frame other people, because the whole thing is the who done it. So by
successfully,
this point, yeah, right. I mean, Billy tried to frame himself to get out of it, which was kind of what made the first one so brilliant. He was red herring himself so much that he possibly can't be him. So I would like to see maybe a Ghostface do things where he's like setting little traps and like making it look like it was Sam. And then I don't want it to be a thing where Tara turns out to be the killer either. I don't think that would be the right direction either.
She's such a Jenna Ortega is such a heroine when it comes to these films. Like, we've seen her in so many movies as the good guy at this point. Like, I could see you spinning it, like, where it's like, oh, the character who you thought was good is no, but no. Like, they got to make her, in my opinion, they got to make her like a much more out front character. It should be all about the Carpenter sisters if Nev's not going to be there. I think that's the best course of action to course correct. In my opinion, they're not as strong of characters, obviously, as Sidney Prescott, but you could develop them to be leads, I think.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, honestly, they could do anything. This middle chapter is going to really define what their goal is, what their trilogy is. Whether it goes in a satisfying direction is really up to them. So, they said they were going to. This isn't exactly the phrasing they used, but they said they were going to pull the rug out from under us essentially and change things up. So
taking risks and all that, yeah.
Right. Like that could be really satisfying, or that could be, we can all fall on our ass and be like, this is awful. This is an awful mistake. And honestly, we won't know until March. But so far it's not looking great for the fact that and I don't blame Radio Silence or James Vanderbilt and Guy Busick that Nev is not a part of it. But I'll tell you what, everyone says Radio Silence. Those guys have very little control as to what happens in the movie. If you listen to the commentary, the one who's talking the most is James Vanderbilt. He's the producer and the co-writer. That's the guy running the train. The Radio Silence guys barely get a word in edgewise. So, it's one of those things where he's the guy, who's really sort of pulling the strings. Is it him that said no to Nev? I don't know. But I don't think anyone's going to take credit for that. Whoever did it is going to keep their mouth shut.
Oh yeah, no, they're not going to say nothing. No, but I will say with James Vanderbilt, I don't love his writing style. Is that horrible to say? I love Guy Busick. He's like obviously an up and comer. He wrote Ready or Not and helped out with the last film. You can feel his touch to the script in the last one. Like you can feel what he implemented into it. But I just don't like the way James Vanderbilt writes dialogue and writes the way like a film progresses. Like his flow is off to me. Like he did the Amazing Spider-Man movies, right? To my knowledge, like just offhand.
Yeah, he did that. He did. Did he do the London Has Fallen? Those movies. Forget what those are called, but yeah, those Fallen movies.
Because I was I haven't even seen those. I know what you're talking about though. I just can't remember the name of it. Like, man. Yeah, Something Has Fallen. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. But to me, in the Spider-Man movies, for instance, I think my biggest problem with those, that comparing them to the Raimi trilogy, the problem with them is you have moments that feel like Spider-Man. You have moments that are like, oh, this is really cool. The dialogue is trash. The dialogue does not work. The way the characters are maybe this is a director's error, but man, the way like you have Andrew Garfield talking to like Gwen Stacy and all that, just I don't know, it doesn't work for me. It doesn't feel natural. And I felt some of that in this new Scream film, especially with like some of Sam's dialogue and some of like how the characters are developed. It's the same feeling I had with that movie, but in this new one. And I really hope that they let Guy Busick kind of take the reins a little more, because even though yes, he's a younger writer, I feel like he knows how to write characters that Radio Silence likes to direct better. Going back to going back to Ready or Not. that movie felt like it was like, okay, everyone was on the same page. I know exactly what they're going for. With Scream 5, it does feel a little bit like Ready or Not, but there's there's another little flavor in there that kind of contradicts some of the other shit. You know what I'm saying? Or am I kind of just like speaking into the wind here?
No. I get it. Again, I mean, that's a bigger project than something like Ready or Not, which was, I wouldn't say an indie movie, but it's a smaller film in terms of the people putting their hands in the pie, for lack of a better phrase. Everybody's gonna have a say in Scream 5. Now Scream 6, everybody's gonna have a say. Yes, Chad. Paramount were the people who said no to Nev, and I can't, like I said, I can't imagine James and Gary, Guy didn't want her there. But there's gonna be so many more people involved now, and that's never a good thing. That's never a good thing, because creatively now it becomes messy. You put in different flavors of ice cream, you're just gonna get brown at the end. So we're just gonna. I feel like we're just gonna end up with brown. And I don't think anyone's really gonna enjoy that. It's gonna do a disservice to everybody, and it's not anybody's really big fault, except for the fact that it seems like the money people don't understand the franchise. And the creatives don't have a lot of power to say, no, this doesn't make any sense. This is what should happen. And I'll toss it back to Star Wars in a way. I was not a big fan of The Last Jedi, and it seems like Radio Silence was. And so, fine, like what you like, but I think that movie really did a disservice to the fan base in the way it told that story. And I would hate. I mean, we've already seen the Scream franchise, fandom, I should say, fracture a little bit in these last few weeks. So I would hate for the movies to take a hit, and then retroactively we look back in 10 years and we're like, oh yeah, the first 5 are great, and then it just becomes, we don't even know what the hell's going on with the franchise. You know what I mean? That would suck. That ultimately hurts everybody.
And like how I feel about the Star Wars movies is, like I'm not the biggest fan of them, but did 7 have potential to be something good? Yeah, I think so. I think, like, dude, the first 20 minutes of episode 7 is fucking awesome to me. I was like, oh, this is okay. Here we go. Finn with the blood on his the stormtrooper helmet. I'm like, okay, this is going somewhere cool. Darker version of Star Wars. I'm down for it. But then it totally falls apart, in my opinion. They had no idea what to do with this character. They tried to make him like the goofy dude. They tried to make him the love interest. They tried to make him a Jedi. They had no idea what to do with Finn's character. It was all from a writing standpoint, and it really killed the movie and the entire trilogy because they tried to course correct in all the other films. I really hope they have a fucking plan for Sam. That's gonna make or break these new movies. If there's a 7 as well, that will absolutely determine if this is going to be good or not. Because if they know what to do with Sam, which I think is not that hard of a situation right now, make her just develop the situation with her and her sister. To me, that's going to be the most interesting thing to watch throughout these new, let's say there's 2 more movies. I think it would be cool to see her be a little more protective over Tara, because just kind of to counteract what she did in the last movie, where it's like she's apologizing for not being there. Now she's overdoing it, and she's kind of being overprotective, getting her claws in there and being like, hey, don't go out. You got a big test tomorrow. You're going to get to bed at 8:00, you ma'am. You know what I mean? Like just yelling at her and all that shit. And Tara's like, oh my God, get off my back. Jeez. That would be cool. Let's develop these characters a little bit. That would be some fun drama to watch, I'd say. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I think that's the direction they should go in. We definitely need to see the sisters be sisters. We saw that picture Jenna Ortega posted of them eating lunch. It's nice to see them back together. But on-set photos is different from what happens in the movie. Trailers are different from what happens in the movie. Posters don't really sell you, exactly what happens. So do they even have any screen time together? Do they have 1 or 2 scenes and then they don't see each other till the end? I mean, there's so
big
many
mistake.
There's so many little things that could get in the way that could derail a story. And unfortunately, we're just so far away from anything to be able to predict it. But they've got so many hurdles to face. And if they don't honor what happened at least in their last sequel, meaning the Billy stuff, at least give the Billy stuff a farewell. Have him vanish in one of the in the mirror. He says, "Hey, you got this, kid. Good luck." And then he vanishes. Okay, fine. You can, but I feel like you do need closure. I don't care what anybody says. We did not get any closure with Sydney. She's sitting in the back of an ambulance. She goes, "Oh, I'll be fine." No. I'd like to get her. At least. I mean, she is the franchise. Without her in it, it just doesn't make any sense to me. But at least have her sign off in a nice way. And how are they going to? And that's another hurdle. How are they going to explain that she's not in this one? Oh, she's in Europe.
Yeah, right. Well, like what they did with Sam and Tara. Yeah, and Sam and Tara's mom. Oh, right, yeah, right. She's off somewhere while her kids are getting fucking murdered. What? Come on. No, to me, I think the worst part about it is the fact that you have Gale Weathers coming back, but not Sydney. That to me is what doesn't make any sense. I don't know how they're gonna write that in a way that's actually going to work. That to me is the toughest hurdle for them to get over. Now that Sydney's not gonna be in it, how are you gonna write Gale Weathers into this story, but not Sydney? Is it going to be a line of dialogue where it's like, oh, she was busy. Oh, I called her, she didn't answer. You know what I mean? You gotta do a little more than that. She's been the face of the franchise for such a long time. You can't just write her off. And so help me God, do not write her as dead. Do not be like, oh, she got into a car accident, do a Halloween 4 on us with fucking Jamie Lee Curtis. Don't do that. No, please no. God, no. I'll walk out of the theater, man.
Honestly, that would be the biggest fuck you to the entire franchise and the fandom if they kill Sydney off camera or at all. I mean, if it's like somebody like body doubling her and she gets hit by a car or something, I mean, that would just be the worst choice they could make, and that instantly would kill the franchise. For me, I wouldn't care going on. No, I'm done. And I love Gale, but let's be honest, Gale works really great when she has a foil. Dewey's gone. The best parts of Scream 3 is when she was with Jennifer Jolie. And she was having scenes with that character. If it's just her, I mean, maybe she teams up with Kirby. I don't know. They as far as I know, they haven't really met, but they lived in Woodsboro, so I would assume they knew of each other. But, maybe.
It's like, I guess.
Right. I guess you can get away with it, but Gale on her own, I don't know how that works. I don't know how that works, especially now that you have to give her new characters to be her foil. So then we have to get to know these guys and how these guys work. I don't know. It just doesn't work. I don't know.
Well, we have Dermot Mulroney coming on to play a cop character. And man, I'll tell you what, if he doesn't look a little bit like Dewey, I'm worried that they make him a love interest. I'm okay if they decide to make him like work alongside Gale, but don't make him a love interest. Don't try to replace Dewey. Don't kill Dewey in the last movie and then it's like, oh, we'll just get another guy to be a goofy cop. No. Bad Scream. But I really hope that's not the case. I hope they're not trying to over course correct with like things that they're like, oh shit, we fucked up in the last movie. We gotta change it. We gotta make it right again. I hope they do it in a way that's tasteful and not like that, because that would fucking suck.
No, they shouldn't do that. I mean, honestly, I'm guessing he's gonna be another like a Mark Kincaid type of character. Just a New York cop looking into the case, and maybe they'll flirt. But I agree, there should not be a relationship. It feels very disrespectful to Dewey to do that. Not that she has to necessarily be a nun, but it's so soon. I mean, it's been a year technically. Since I don't know. Do we know the timeline in terms of like how soon after?
Well, so this picture just came out. Craven Something Scary's buddy up in Montreal got a picture of like the set that they're working on, and it had a jack-o'-lantern. So if it was September in the last movie, I'm assuming it's got to be like a year later. Would be my guess, like maybe like a year and a month later, essentially, like of the next year. That's what I'm guessing. I would assume that's got to be it. So maybe she's like starting to work on the book for Dewey a little bit. That you could go that route with her character. But I agree that she needs a foil. She needs to be investigating. That's what she's always done best in these movies. She's got to go and investigate the situation with somebody. And
absolutely.
Maybe we get a chase scene through her studio too, which I think would be fun. I've talked a little bit about they got to use the setting to their advantage. Like you're using New York City. Give us chase scenes through an alleyway. Give us chase scenes in a big high-rise building where you can see like the rain and thunderstorm going on outside. That could be really fun. What do you like setting wise? Where do you want to go in Scream 6 now that we have this opportunity to go somewhere we've never gone before?
Well, it's weird because technically we're not even in New York. We're in Montreal.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you can't do Times Square. You can't. I mean, unless they go and they shoot like a week of like footage of the characters walking around. But I would like to see. I would like to see Bigfoot. There's a Bigfoot in front of me, so it just popped into my head for some reason. I would like to see Ghostface kind of kill somebody in broad, well, not broad daylight, but just like out in the open, and it's like New York, so people are just like, whatever, it's New York. We're used
Bystander
to that.
effect, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that would be very interesting. Like, help me, he's killing me, and people just like walking by eating like
just like okay, yeah, let's get out of here.
Not my problem, I think that would be really interesting to see, and I think elements like that would be great. I think if you can give us a Ghostface killer that number one that's smart, that does very unique kills, maybe has different weapons, then honestly you can set it anywhere as long as the story works. New York, maybe I'll live with it. Maybe it's like, you know what, it actually worked in New York. It was fine. In my mind, I know it's Montreal, but we can pretend. But I would like to see a subway. I think you have to do that. You have to put a subway scene in there. I hope they don't do a thing where they get stuck in the sewers and then Ghostface becomes baby Ghostface.
Because toxic waste flows through the sewers every night. Everyone knows that.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
That's one of the reasons New York isn't great. Is the toxic waste sewers. I mean, I always go to. I mean, if you're gonna be in New York, then you have to do stuff like Statue of Liberty. Those kind of iconic buildings, have to factor them in somewhere. Because you're saying, oh, it's New York, but here's just some like alleyways. Like, why? Like, why go there at all?
I hope that, I hope they get creative with it. I hope that they take this opportunity to do what Jason Takes Manhattan didn't do. You know what I mean? I almost feel like you have a lot of opportunities to do. Like, look, it's the sixth entry in a slasher franchise. No matter what way you want to spin it, I think we can make it a little silly, honestly, if we're also going to make it a little brutal too. Why not have some sillier things like that where we comment on like the space? Like, we're going into the subway sewers, not the sewers, the subway systems, and you have maybe Ghostface pushing somebody in front of a fucking subway car. I mean, little things like that. That could be fun. Environmental kills, I think they should really utilize to their advantage just because they can. I mean, you can't kill somebody with a subway train in Woodsboro, California. You know what I'm saying? I think that would be cool to go that route in this new film. It could be fun. Environmental kills instead of stab kills.
Absolutely. I think that would be very, very good. Even like maybe Ghostface is playing with people and he cuts their legs, tosses them on the train tracks, and they're like, help me, and Ghostface is just like watching, waiting for the train to come, and he lets the train do the work. I think that'd be great. I think that actually would be really, really great. But I'll tell you what, if we start seeing pictures of a houseboat, we should be very scared.
Yeah, no, if I find out there's a boat involved in this film at all, that's where I draw the fucking line. That's where I'm like, nope, we're not doing this.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I really hope that 2/3 of this movie doesn't take place on a boat, or I'm gonna lose my mind. I'll tell you what. I do kind of hope that they give a little nod to Jason Takes Manhattan. Just something. I mean, like the tiniest thing would work for me. Kicking a boombox in Times Square, punching off a mannequin's head. Little things. it's a little thing like that where I'd be like, they did it. They did the thing. So I don't know. I think that would be fun. You have a lot of opportunities with this film. I'd think. I
agree, and I think that's as a horror fan who's seen way too many movies and movies that a lot of people shouldn't even see. I think they should throw a lot of little Easter eggs for random little things in there. Like, oh my God, they just referenced that Italian movie that only 6 people saw. That's crazy. I would love to see things like that, because then it shows that in a way it's kind of a flex. Like, hey, horror fans, we hear you. Hey, remember that weird little thing that happened in that one movie? Look at this. Oh my God, that's that poster from that thing. Oh, remember that book was in that. I love things like that. So it's a small thing, but those Easter eggs make people like me happy. Horror fans like me were like, oh man, they really know their shit. Even though the script has problems, I appreciated that they reference these things and that they pay off. I mean, one of the big things I would have loved to see in this, and it's something that maybe potentially could happen down the line after my convention experience. A great opening would be a horror convention, and it's Luke Wilson, Tori Spelling, Heather Graham, and
shit,
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Ghostface is just and there was so many Ghostfaces there, by the way, at the convention, just people walking around. A Ghostface comes by to get their autograph, and then we get this epic kill where he takes out the OG characters from Stab. That would be pretty powerful stuff, man.
Oh man, an opening kill where it's like, yeah, he kills like 3 or 4 people from those movies, and like maybe the Ghostface's motive is like he fucking hates the movies. Like he hates the movies. It's like, why is no one talking about the real life killings? Like no one talks about that. Everyone just thinks it's not even really based on a true story. You know, that could be there's a motive right there too that goes along with that. That works with that. That could be really, man, that would be. Ooh, that'd be intense. I would love to see that. Yeah. That's a 10 out of 10 in my book. But speaking of killing characters, because this is something we have to address it. As much as I pretty much know your opinion on it already. Do you think they kill Gale Weathers in this movie? Do they go the Star Wars route of killing more and more legacy characters? Like, despite how you feel about that, do you think it's a possibility?
I don't think so. I don't think I think if Nev was in it, yeah, probably. But the fact that they didn't get Nev and they may not get her for 7, I have a feeling Gale's going to be safe. Kirby, no. I think Kirby's gone, which is a shame because we've already seen that, you know, they mistreated Judy. So, but also at the same time, maybe not, because they saw the reaction to Dewey dying and people not being cool with it. So it may be a thing where they decide to keep those characters because they think maybe we could bring them back in other movies, knowing that fans love to see these characters return over and over again. And part of the fun is they survive. That's why another reason this franchise is special, because these guys survive and they keep coming back. So I think Gale is safe. What do you think?
I hope she's safe. That's how I feel. I hope she's safe. I hope that there's no reason to kill her. I don't think. I feel like there's even barely a reason to kill Dewey in the last movie. And I'll say this. If Dewey's death only amounted to bringing back Sydney and Gale into the movie, that was the only reason you did it, that's gonna retroactively make me think less of Scream 5. Like, I really don't think there's so many different ways you could bring Sydney and Gale back into the equation without killing Dewey. I feel like there's so many ways you could have wrote that in without killing him. I really hope it somehow affects the plot of this next film, because if you're just gonna kill a character like that for that one reason, just to have the candy screen time from like Neve Campbell and Gale Weathers, I need a little more than that. He's such a beloved character. They've been building him up, and he had a wonderful arc as well that I really enjoyed. I really hope his death wasn't just for that reason. Have it affect the story somehow in 6. Maybe, but probably not.
Yeah, I would say prepare for disappointment, pal, because I don't think they're gonna go back and say, haha, I'm the one who killed Dewey. They're not gonna be a thing like, oh, there's a secret third killer. I think it's just gonna be a shock value, honestly.
And that sucks. To me, that's the biggest negative of Scream 5 now, if they don't go anywhere with that. I remember watching it and being like, okay, this has got to go somewhere. Because I was like, okay, they shocked us with that. Maybe whoever the killer is had some kind of vendetta against Dewey. That was going to be the thing. That didn't happen. I'm walking out of the theater and I'm thinking to myself, that's got to go somewhere in the next movie if they do that. Maybe. Maybe. But now, yeah, I pretty much agree with you, man. I don't think it's going anywhere. I think they're just going to completely forget about Dewey. It might influence Gale's storyline, but that's not enough. I need something else. I need that to affect whatever the fuck's going on in town right now. I don't know. It fucking sucks to me. I remember, dude, we talked about it on a live stream immediately after. I'm like, I thought it was kind of cool. I think it could go somewhere. I don't think it's gonna go anywhere. And it sucks.
No, and that's like we were saying, that 6 has so many hurdles. This and this is a huge hurdle. If they fail to deliver a satisfying movie, it's going to make 5 look even worse, to people who are kind of on the fence about it. But I do feel, I feel Dewey was thrown out. I don't think he's in 6 because, David Arquette has talked, pretty vociferously about Neve Campbell should be in Scream. If she's not, it doesn't make any sense. And, I think he said it was unfortunate that she's not in it. So, and if he was in it, I think he'd probably not say. I mean, he probably would, because he's a very loyal person. But we haven't heard from Courtney, and I'm shocked, honestly, that Courtney's doing it. I mean, did they offer her more money? I don't know. It's strange to me that she would kind of be okay with it and not sort of like solidarity. I mean, we've seen that before. I mean, let's be honest. If it's pay disputes, this isn't just it's just Scream. Who gives a shit? Everybody has pay disputes. You think Tom Cruise, did Top Gun for $2 million? No, man, they paid him They pay them through the nose, and he's getting 10% on top of whatever the movie makes.
Oh, he's getting 10%. Okay, so yeah. I said that in a video the other day, and I couldn't find the percentage of like what he was going to get from profits. I think they paid him like a little over 12 million to be in that movie. So then, okay, that makes sense. That's wow. Yeah. Why are they giving Tom Cruise so much money and not Nev Campbell? Yeah, no, I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree more with that.
I mean, you could say, yeah, I mean, it's Nev Campbell. It's not Tom Cruise, but in the Scream franchise, she's Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Yes.
The Tom Cruise. You know what I mean? Imagine. I mean, somebody said a Scream movie without Nev Campbell is like a dinosaur making a Jurassic World without dinosaurs. I mean, it feels like, it just feels integral to it. You know? I don't know. It just doesn't work.
I hope it's good, dude. I hope it's good. You know, I'm rooting for it, but I just hope that they know what they're doing without Sidney Prescott. That's the big thing to me. They got to give us something good. They got to give us some original idea that I feel like this movie can either go one of two ways. It's going to be either the worst or one of the best sequels. There's going to be no in between with this because of what they're going to do with it. I like to live on the edge. I'm an adrenaline junkie, so that's why I'm still covering it. If anything, I'm more interested in this film than the last one just because of all this. It's just like, fuck, what are they gonna do, man? Like, my curiosity is piqued. I really feel like they have an opportunity. Like I said, they have an opportunity to do something great here, but it's not looking great. It's not looking great, but who knows, man? Maybe we're blown away. Maybe it's just like, oh shit, that's cool. I really think what you were talking about earlier, having a ghost face who's a little more technical, who's a little more badass, maybe that could be the center of this. And I feel like that could work. To have, because we've always seen like bumbling idiots essentially be Ghostface. So what if we had somebody who was a little more technical, knew what they were doing, used a bunch of shit ton of weapons, had like attaché cases or however the fuck you pronounce that, where it's like the knives are perfectly placed in there and something like that. I feel like that could work. That could be fun.
That could be fun, and it would help this movie sort of stand out. But we are, we are dealing with a sixth movie in the franchise. So another stumbling block is canon. If there's stuff that's established that they forget to establish or they reestablish in the wrong way, like they sort of already did with Part 5 when it comes to the stab movies, it's basically you're adding insult to injury on the stuff that didn't work in 5 if you don't either address it or fix it or deliver something as entertaining or more entertaining. Or so unique that people are like, oh yeah, no, it was fine. You know, I can live with this. And then of course the new killers. Do the killers make sense? Are the motives satisfying? Are the motives stupid? I mean, that's crucial. And again, it's all really casting. You know, the reason Part 1 works so well is because goddamn, everybody in that cast is so good. You know, it's so memorable. Everybody likes Richie because he's such a cool character. And yeah, it does suck that it was him, yeah. If they give us some cool characters, that could help too. There's a lot they can do, but there's a lot that they could also get wrong, and there's a lot of that stuff that is on their plate that they could get wrong. And that's why I'm being a little more negative about it.
There's a lot more things they have to get right than, I couldn't agree more. This is a much more crucial film than the last one. Like, yes, that last movie was kind of like their foot in the door, but this is like making sure they don't get fucking pushed out of the house, essentially, is how I feel about this film. I really want it to be good. I'm really rooting for him. I love Radio Silence. I mostly like the writers, like I said. Not the biggest James Vanderbilt guy, but I love Guy Busick. I think he's a great up-and-comer. I can't wait to see what he does past Scream. So I really want it to be good. Something we're implementing into our Scream movie is explaining some weird things from the past that I don't love, like the voice changer from 3. This is the first time I've talked about this, but I won't say how we explain it, but we do go into some detail about like how Roman got that and how that's not really technology we have today, but how we kind of have there's a throwaway line where it's like, oh, cool. That throws something into the canon. I almost hope they do something like that, where it's like it expands on things from the past that maybe people didn't like, or maybe it's something that people really did love. That's always a fun thing to do in sequels. And yes, they kind of do that in this last film with like talking about like, okay, Sam is the illegitimate daughter of Billy Loomis. Do you think there's any more fun little things like that they could do to comment on things from the past and expand upon them into a whole nother film?
I don't know, and I really hope they don't start writing shit in like, somebody in the chat said, Dewey's brother. No. We know he doesn't have we Tatum, and that's it. I don't want them to start throwing this stuff in. I mean, I think it was hard enough to swallow. I mean, I guess you could buy that Billy, was having an affair with some other girl while he was dating, Sydney, because she wasn't, putting out or whatever. But I feel like I think that would really hurt it if they retroactively retcon stuff in a negative way, negatively in basically impacting everything that we've known in the past, just changing it arbitrarily. That's something that actually, going back to Star Wars, the Star Wars movies have done, where you're like, wait, what? How does that happen? That can't happen. You said this and this. So if they do that, I think that's a big no-no for me. I'm a big believer in what's established is established.
Yeah.
And if you change it on me, then you're basically breaking the rules of your own movie, and it's no longer worth my time. That's just where I'm coming from. So I really hope they don't add anything that's too outside the box.
Because I agree with you about like the whole like don't add siblings, don't add moms and all that coming into the equation. We don't need that, but I think it would be fun if they maybe just like talked about some other things from the past and almost like in throwaway lines explained it and all that. That could be fun. But yeah, I've had this comment a lot, which is why I wanted to bring this up to you, like talking about like, oh, they should put like another Loomis character in there as the killer. They should put this and that in there. I just don't think that would work. I don't think throwing in like characters that were related to something in the past, the motive can't be something about like, oh, we want to come after you because this happened 25 years ago. Now that we have a departure from Sidney Prescott, the motive, the killers, whoever it is, it has to be all about Sam. It has to be something all new, I think, if they're going to try to keep this franchise alive without Sidney. So what do you think that they could do with Sam's character in Sidney's place, I guess?
I mean, it seems that they're just going to rinse and repeat. I mean, especially if the college is involved, I feel like they're just going to try to make her, Sydney Part 2, with the mental hurdles. I mean, if Billy's not there, then maybe they get rid of that. Maybe she's cool now. Maybe all she had to do was kill Richie, and that cured her somehow.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think the fact that she was a darker character, at least the beginnings of a darker character, I think is a really strong footing and could make her very unique. I don't know if they're going to go in that direction, especially if Billy's not back. Then I have no idea. But from what I've seen, I would say they're probably just going to copy everything from Part 2, essentially. And that would, I mean, the whole college angle. I'm calling it. It's called Scream 2. It's 100%. They're gonna call it Scream 2.
I think the same thing. Honestly, it's probably gonna be Scream 2. I don't love this, but Scream the sequel is a little better. I think it's not as bad, but I still don't love it. I just call it Scream 6. I mean, listen, if Saw could do it all those years ago, they went through the final chapter essentially. Yeah, it works. It'll be fine. It'll make money. Let's call it Scream 6. Fuck it. I don't even think they can do that anymore because the last one was just Scream 2022. So I don't know. They really dug themselves into a hole, I think, with this franchise. But I hope it's good. You are bumming me out a little bit. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally messing with you. I hope it's good though. I really hope it's good. I'm still gonna hold out for it. I'm keeping the excitement alive. But is there anything else this year that you're excited for, Master Chaos, besides Scream?
Let's see. I really want to see Black Phone. I really want to see Nope. I'm also worried about Halloween Ends. There's a couple. I've been watching the videos, and I'm like, I don't know, man. It doesn't sound very good to me. I don't know. And especially most of the cast coming out and saying, you ain't gonna like the ending. You're not gonna like the ending.
It's like Game of Thrones season 8 all over again, It's like, why are they saying that? What the fuck?
Right. It's like, that's somebody, PR people, get on that. Tell them to shut up. They should not be saying that. Even if it's true, you don't want the cast saying that. And that's like, I just get flashbacks to Mark Hamill saying, "Oh, Last Jedi sucks." This is not the movie you think you're gonna get. Okay, so anyway, what am I looking forward to? I'm really looking forward to Minions. I think that looks like
hell yeah, dude.
That looks so fun. I don't know. I've been making a movie, so I'm sort of out of the loop in terms of what's coming out new, except for all the new stuff that's been, in trailers and stuff like that. But I love movies.
Got a
so
lot on your plate. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a lot on my plate, and I just feel so old, and you know what I mean. I've been on the rabbit hole with so many franchises that I approach everything a little optimistic, but I'm pessimistic, I should say. But whenever the movie starts, it's always a blank slate, no matter what. It's always like, okay, movie, show me what you got, and I'm always on the movie side until something happens, and I was like, oh, okay, that's not good, and then I turn my critical head on. But I mean, I think it's a good time. Crimes of the Future was great. 100%.
I loved Crimes of the Future. Oh my God, that was so good. Fuck.
Really good. Top Gun was fantastic. There's a lot of good stuff out there. I can't even think about anything new that's coming out.
Oh, so I want to ask you about your movie real quick. But did you see Everything Everywhere All at Once?
Yes.
Did you like that? How do you feel about that? I haven't seen it yet. I have not seen it yet. So okay.
It's fantastic, and I will say it's the kind of movie where at first you're like, I don't get why everyone's talking about this. You have to let the movie kind of develop as it goes along. It's one of those movies that really at the end is when it all comes together and you get the message. And because while you're watching it, it feels completely bizarre. Like, what? Like and there's a lot to catch up on because they give you so much world building and you're just playing catch up. Oh, okay, this, oh, okay. But by the ending, it becomes such a very unique and special movie because you've seen all this big stuff, but the important things are the intimate things, and that comes through at the end. And I think it's a rewarding experience. I think you'll dig it.
Okay, I'm going to see it tomorrow morning with my brother. That in the new Top Gun because I have like all my film buddies are like, you have to see those movies. What? How have you not seen those? So and everyone's been telling me to see it in the theaters and all that. So I'm going to see that tomorrow. I'm really excited for it. I just wanted to ask your opinion. I was just curious.
Okay, you'll dig it. You'll dig it.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. So with your you have a new movie coming out called The Headless Horseman, right? Is that that's the title? Okay. I'm glad I got that right this time instead of the other one where I just butchered it. Absolutely. I totally butchered the last one. Is there anything you can talk about with that movie like that you can give us right now?
Well, we're in editing. The movie's going to be out at the end of September or early October. I think it'll be streaming on Tubi. Potentially a theatrical release, but don't quote me on it because things can change last minute. It's essentially a take on the Headless Horseman, but sort of a modern urban version of it. So think Drive meets the Headless Horseman. That's kind of what we went with.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, we had fun. We got a great cast. Sean Whalen is in it.
Okay.
Wes Craven fans will know him as Roach from The People Under the Stairs. He's fantastic, and I've got somebody writing the score, but I can't officially announce who that is yet. I told you, but I can't officially say who it is yet. But it's a pretty big name in the horror space when it comes to scores.
I won't say, like you said, but it's exciting. It blew my mind when you told me. I was like, what? My God. Yeah. So that was cool. It's really cool, man. I'm excited for it, man. Check that out on Tubi, everybody, in September. Like he said, make sure to check that one out. I'm pumped for it, man. I'm really excited. So it's gonna be good.
Thank you. Yeah, it's it was obviously any movie is a labor of love, and it's difficult to make a movie, and we had pretty much everything against us, but we pulled it off, and the movie looks fucking great. It's fantastic. So hopefully the VFX are good, which are sort of out of my hands, but I'm very happy with it, and I will hopefully be able to share more when I have something done.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. I think I saw you tweeted about it a little bit. Did you say you only shot for like 7 days? Like, it was like a 7 week or like a 7 day, like just really quick, like getting everything done, or like what was going on with all that? That seems really stressful.
we shot an entire feature, 105 pages in 6 days.
Oh my God.
And it was not easy, as you can imagine. And it wasn't even like 14, 18-hour days because of and it was non-union, but just in terms of like budgeting, we couldn't go over. So we had 12 hours at most, and some days we only had 10 because we were shooting mostly at night. So we had to wait for nighttime. So I think the movie was made in a combined just about 75 hours of shooting to make the movie happen. Very hard, but not not as impossible as I thought it was gonna be. And we got the whole movie in. We shot every almost every page. But we had to cut a couple things just because money wise we couldn't get that actor on certain days. But yeah, we got the whole movie in 6 days, man. It's nuts.
Damn, that is so awesome. Cause we've been filming our movie for like a fucking like over a month now. So it's just like, I can't even imagine 6 days. That's awesome, dude. So no, that's really cool, man. That's fucking awesome. I'm really excited to see this thing. Like I said, we'll have to get you on and we'll talk about it maybe when it comes out or something. I think that'd be fun.
That'd be great, yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. Is there anything like before we kind of start to wrap it up? I just wanted to do a quick stream tonight because I'm just, I got a million things going on. Is there anything else you want to plug? Anything else you want to talk about, like real quick? But while we got this time here, absolutely not.
On my channel, I'll just be covering some new Blu-rays that are coming out. That's sort of what I do over there. I'll be reviewing a couple of new releases: Voyage of the Rock Aliens and Thriller. Now, this isn't the Michael Jackson Thriller. This is the Swedish revenge film. That is, let's just say it's closer to an adult film than just your typical revenge film. I'll be talking about those in the next few days, and I don't normally cover movie news, but I think I might be moving into that space a little more, I guess, over the summer, depending on if fun stuff pops up. But man, Scream 6 news, I don't know. I feel like,
well, you're so excited for it, you got to cover it.
yeah, exactly. If you put it that one, you're right. Yeah. I may just come on and chat with you and like Craven and whatever on your shows to discuss that stuff. But I just honestly, man, I just hope the franchise can continue and be just satisfying and don't let people down. That's all I ask from the creators. Like, look, you've got something so special in your hands right now. Don't pull a Ryan Johnson and say, haha, I know better than these guys. I'm going to do this because I'm a funny little guy. No. You know what I mean?
That's what I say in like all my videos. Yeah, no, that line right there. No. Yeah.
Just be true to the fan base that love these movies and don't try to rewrite history and just give us a good damn movie. That's all I want.
Yeah, no, you said it the best, I think. I'm hoping the same. So everybody make sure to go subscribe to Master Chaos TV. Guy's doing some good Blu-ray reviews right now. He put out a bunch of really cool Scream videos, and he won't be covering Scream 6 updates. So there you go. Yeah. Make sure to check that out. And I'm going to just plug something real quick too, because why not? Why not just throw that out there? Wayne had a really good point. I'm going to plug my own merch real quick. Look at that. That's a white shirt with my logo on it. Guys, you can get that right now. That's pretty sick. Maybe you hate my logo. Maybe you like the Ghost Jake shirt a little more. It's not Ghost Face, because that's something that I can't say legally or sell. So there you go. Check out go get one of those baby puppies, or maybe you want to tell all the people walking past you somewhere that you have no friends and you actually just watch horror movies all day. You can buy that shirt right there. Check it out at the KillJoy Jake merch store, little store tab on my page. That would be cool. Help a brother out and buy a shirt. There you go. So go on and do that. That's a cool thing to do. So
Jake,
what's up?
At this point, your channel's growing steadily. Would you say that you still don't have any friends? I
mean, are you my friend?
I'm your friend.
Oh my God! Let's go! I can quit. This is the only reason I was doing it. I just wanted to make one friend. Holy crap.
I'm here.
Dude.
That's it. Sorry, guys. KillJoy Jake, the final episode.
This is it. I'm done. No, okay. Oh my God. Well, dude, thank you so much for coming on, man. I really do appreciate it. It's always a great time talking horror movies with you.
Oh man, you too, dude. I love it. Even everyone in the chat. I'm sorry if I sound so negative. I just feel like I've been down the road with so many of these franchises that I after a while you get jaded and you get burned out by these things. And I was there opening night for Halloween Resurrection and be like, what's happening? You know what I mean?
God. Oh,
You know,
jeez.
So it's like, I lived through the Leprechaun years. Like, oh, Leprechaun could actually be a good franchise. No, wait, he's in the hood twice. So I apologize if I come off a little negative, but just know it's from a place of love, because I really do care about scary movies, and I care about this franchise very much.
I think a lot of people sympathize with you, though. Like, I don't think I don't think everyone's going to disagree with you on that, honestly. Because I feel like it's like we were talking about, it's pretty 50-50 right now, the franchise overall. Like, I feel like people are on one side or the other about moving forward with it, even. Like, some people are even talking about, like, boycotting the film and shit. So I don't even think that's that hot of a take.
No, that's true. And whether or not you boycott is up to you. I won't, but I don't know that I'll necessarily be watching it 5 times in theaters either. I mean, really, again, if it's great, it's great. And I'll be honest and say I loved it, but I'm sure we'll have live streams reviewing it, when the time comes. But I think I think it's fair to give the movie a chance to see what happens, but it's okay if somebody's not 100% looking forward to it either. So you should respect every side.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. No, I totally agree with that. I think it's, no matter how you feel about it. I mean, the franchise is moving on, but if you're not a big fan of that, that's okay. That's all right. It's all right. It's all right to not be excited. It's good. That's why I don't like just bringing people on who have exactly the same opinion as me either. That would just be boring. That would just be a dick sucking contest. And I don't think, I don't know how much fun that would be to watch. So.
Not at all. That doesn't sound fun at all.
Well, thank you so much for coming on again. I appreciate it. Thank you all for joining us in the chat. You are all so wonderful. Thank you guys so much for hanging out and just talking with us. I enjoy everyone in the chat. I'll have to do a Q&A sometime soon. I see a lot of people saying, why is he not answering our questions? Soon. It'll happen. So no, I want to respect the guests a little more and talk, of course. So sometime in the future. So thank you guys all again for coming, and don't forget to